Let's go under Sydney. There's a group of people who like to get underneath Sydney. Well underneath Sydney. Into the sewers, into the drains, into the sort of caves and the pipes and the slimy bits. I'm joined by two people who today will be going by the name of Hatchet and Silo. They're part of, I think, the Cave Clan, is that correct? And they're here to tell us something about what's down there. Hatchet, Silo, good afternoon.
How you going?
How are you?
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, it's no problem. My pleasure.
What kind of places do you go?
Oh, everything. Storm drains, no actual sewers. Only a couple of sewers we've been down, and that's only because they've got, not much sewage in them. Bridges, hollow concrete bridges, cable tunnels, gas tunnels, train tunnels, tram tunnels, sewer overflows, disused sewers, water supply tunnels, anything and everything that is underground, disused, not generally inhabited or, interesting. It's like...
It's a fantastic list because I don't want to go into any.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff. We've got a wide variety of locations and types of place that you can explore. It's basically urban exploration, visiting all the places that nobody really goes to, places that are... A lot of them tend to be underground. You've got a lot of... a couple of disused underground water reservoirs, some of which are 8 meters in height and the size of your average football field in area. We've got hundreds of stormwater tunnels, some of which are as large as train tunnels, like massive systems. Some of which are 5 foot high and a real pain to walk through. You spend half your life looking at your knees and stooping through these things. But it's just a lot of old stuff that was built end of last century. End of the century before last. And it's the main thing in Sydney is we're still looking for things, whereas in Melbourne basically everything's been found. And of course,
Right.
the Cave Clan was founded in Melbourne in 1986, and in the past 12 years that they've been in existence, they've basically tapped most of Melbourne's stuff. Whereas in Sydney, we found approximately two or three new locations a month. And
yeah.
it's just the never-ending fun of discovering new places and getting into places that you never thought you'd get into.
Hatchet, what do you take? What sort of gear do you need?
Just torches, headlights, tools to pull manholes out of the ground, ropes, abseil equipment, whatever you think you're going to need, whatever you're doing.
So it's similar to climbing or caving, that sort of thing.
It depends what you're doing.
It's a lot more easier. It's a lot easier than caving,
Yeah, it's never physically strenuous really, but...
It's a lot of it. With drains, you just walk through most of them. You get sections where you're stooping, or you're occasionally when you're crawling. Hatchet does a lot more abseiling than I do because I'm scared of heights, and but you can abseil a lot of stuff if you want to, but it's not usually necessary. In fact, squeezing through tight spaces is more common than having to ascend from places or climb.
What are conditions like? I'd imagine that it's fairly damp, it's fairly it's dark, it's murky, it's slimy, that sort of stuff. Is that the case?
If you go in something that's got sewage in it, then it'll be slimy and there'll be
Gross,
and there'll be sewage on the floor, but
That's there's only a handful, about 6 odd drains in Sydney that have sewage overflow problems, which is pretty good, I must say.
yeah.
It's the average stormwater tunnel is relatively clean. You get a bit of algae growth, a lot of wildlife, bats, hundreds of cockroaches, spiders. Although usually they're daddy long legs style. You get feral cats occasionally, ducks, a lot of eels, especially in the sort of harbour. Drains that empty into the harbour. But overall conditions are good. The main problem is the height quite often because Sydney Water just don't build large enough drains. If you go down to Melbourne, we went to Melbourne, and the size of the tunnels there just, blow your mind. They're massive. You can drive buses and trucks through them, Overkill.
Is this an international movement?
There is a web ring on the internet which lists over 60 different sites that cover everything from, the Dartmoor mines in England through to the catacombs in Paris.
Nuclear fallout shelters.
Yeah, but the Cave Clan in Australia really is, apart from a group called Infiltration in Canada, is really the only sort of organised urban exploration group in the world as far as we know of.
Hey.
Anyway, so
how do you get in? Well, what's the entrance to most of these sort of places?
Either pulling a manhole out or looking for an open door, climbing through a window.
Your average drain, you just walk in. You just the way we find them is using. Sidways. Sidways is a great street directory, because it shows all the canals, and where you basically, to find a drain, you just look at the street directory where the canal disappears on the street directory, you drive there. Usually there'll be a drain there. The gamble is whether or not it's worth or large enough to be bothered, to be good enough to walk through. But getting in's the art, really.
Yeah. Some of this is of greyish legality.
Oh yeah, it's a bit how's your father, you could say. It's fun, but the thing is, we've never really. I mean, there's no malicious damage involved really, and we're not into graphing up and malicious vandalism.
Right.
We're not like a homie crew. We don't go around spray painting everywhere. And the attitude is, as long as
if only they would underground, we'd probably.
The thing, as has bbeen mentioned before, homie graffiti goes the first 100 meters of the tunnel before, basically as far as the light goes, the homie graph goes, and then it disappears. But our attitude is we're not really harming anybody. There's never been in the 6 years Sydney's we've been exploring in Sydney. Nobody's ever been hurt other than the odd graze, and in Melbourne they've been doing it for 14 years now, and not one recorded serious injury or far less death.
What's the attraction?
I'd say there's a variety of things that attract people to it. One is, for me, it's the fact that you're going. It's like you could say it's sort of like a. You're going places that nobody else goes. It's like, I know so much about Sydney that other people, or we know so much about Sydney that other people don't know about. There's so many locations, so many places. The thing I can't figure out is why there are so many homeless people out in the streets when there are hundreds of places around the city where they could, get shelter from.
Yeah.
So, other people like it because it's fun, of course. It's physically challenging. You never know what's around the next bend. There's always something new to see. Even if you haven't found the location or the tunnel yourself, you will have still only heard word of mouth about what it's like. And it's completely different from the above ground, world. And it's safe. It's not overall dangerous. You could get slammed off a set of rocks while surfing, or you could, break your neck doing a backside air on a skateboard ramp, but down a drain you're on your feet the whole time. You're not really getting off the ground, and you're not really moving fast either.
You heading out this weekend?
Next expo is a newbies expo in about a week.
February.
And newbies,
February,
people that haven't done it before.
Yeah, basically people who say, oh yeah, we're interested, and the thing is we have to sort of get organised and say, okay, we'll be here at this time, and
Right. Do you take on a particular initiation? A lot of cockroaches, a lot of
no. Usually, this time we're going down Fortress, which is Sydney's premier drain. It's a massive tunnel. It's approximately 10 stories below ground level. It's around 10 to 12 foot high most of the way. Blasted completely out of good old Sydney sandstone, and it's just really impressive. It's got all these massive vertical shafts that go all the way to the surface, and it's it's a good 3 or 4 kilometers long. But we'll be hopefully getting about 40 odd people down in about 2 weeks.
Well, look, thanks for coming in and telling us about it. It's an extraordinary practice.
Well, as they say, going drains,
We were joined by Hatchet and Silo from the Cave Clan, and thanks to Dean Sewell and Cynthia Badham for alerting us to that in this month's I magazine. Thank you very much for coming
My pleasure,
in.
thanks for